Hi, my name is Stephanie Finnemore, and I am the environmental manager for MyTech.
What does your day in your job typically look like?
Well, every single day is different. So we might be out in the field delineating wetlands one day. We might be at a landfill taking water samples the next. The next day we might be working on a contamination project. We're all over the place. So every single day is different, and we never know what each day will bring for us.
So you do a lot of field work?
We do. I don't do a ton as the manager. I'd like to do more, but yes, our guys are out in the field often.
And how long have you been with MyTech?
I started, with CWE in 2006, and we were acquired by MyTech in 2014. So, depends on how you calculate it.
Beginning. How long have you been in the industry?
CWE was really my first real job out of college. I worked as a drafter for a little bit for a housing company prior to, but I finished my master's degree, and this was my first real job doing what I wanted to do, and I've been here ever since.
Got right into it. When you were starting out, especially that young and right out of school, did you have any mentors in particular that were a part of your journey?
I mean, I can go all the way back to high school looking at mentors that had, introduced me to geology, which is what my schooling is in, and encouraged me to proceed and to pursue it. And mentors in college that helped me really hone in my skills and teach me how to, think scientifically and write scientifically. And then when I first got hired, the environmental manager at the time, Pete, he was really my mentor. So he kind of taught me what consulting is all about, got me involved in a lot of components to the industry that I wasn't familiar with at the time, really expanded my horizons. So I would say, Pete was really the one that got me going. And then as I've moved into a manager role, I would say in the last couple of years, Nick, who's my current supervisor, has been a wonderful mentor for me, just helping me to be a better manager and all of the components that come with that. The biggest one is to always have an open mind. As I said earlier, every day is different, every job is different, and we always have to be open to whatever the industry is doing. For example, right now the DNR is really focused on PFAS. That's their big word right now, and so we have to be focused on it. A couple years ago it was vapor intrusion, so we're really focused on that. So it's where the funding is, where the industry is, that's where our interest has to be too. And we never know what kind of a problem the next client will have. So keeping an open mind and just doing the best we can to help with whatever project and what problem we're presented with.
How has EQuix or MyTech supported you specifically, in your position?
Well, as a mother and a manager of a division, it's sometimes hard to balance those two things. I would say that's been a huge level of support that I've received from MyTech in helping me balance those, flexibility and understanding, and it goes both ways. My husband has to be the same way, but I think that would be a really big one. And then just believing in me and helping me to be, the best manager that I can be. It's been just believing in me to do my best. I've kind of been a minority as a woman in this industry since college. It's typically a male-dominated industry, and that's just been, how it's been for my entire career. I really don't think about it very much. It's not something in the forefront of my mind. I would say probably the biggest challenge in being a woman in the construction field is something simple like it's really hard to find field pants that are in a size, because all the women's pants they don't last very long. They're really thin and they're made for looks, whereas men's pants are much more substantial. So little things like that. are really discriminatory when you really look at it. But overall, it's been a very positive experience.
And that's a really good point that hasn't really been brought up yet is the systemic aspect of it. It's, I think, one thing to be the only one there, but another to not have the same resources. So that is, and that kind of leads me to ask, like, are you specifically like aware of tools and resources available like for women in construction? Like, has that been provided to you to help balance out some of those maybe disparities that are in the industry?
Not really. I know you had mentioned a couple of sites and some organizations, and I'm not familiar with those. I've never heard of them before, so I guess I would say no.
And that's interesting because I wasn't either until we started looking into Women in Construction Week. But it's really neat, the network of women that are out there. I was talking earlier to another one of your coworkers about how as a young woman, when you aren't in the industry, it's intimidating because you don't see people who look like you in it. So I guess another question for you is, when you were getting into it, were you intimidated by the lack of diversity, or did that not bother you? Like, how did that feel going into it so young, as a young woman?
It's never really bothered me, and there's actually almost a little bit of pride. Like, I'm proud that I am who I am and that I achieved what I have achieved, and that if I'm a minority, then I think that speaks even more to perseverance and just overcoming any obstacles put in front of me. I've always kind of had the feeling like I treat everyone, I work really hard to treat everyone the same, to see you for who you are and accept you for who you are and treat you as you deserve. And I guess I just expect people to treat me the same way. Never had an experience, with my type or CW that has made me feel, different or like I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. My tech and eQuix as a whole is really good with their, inclusiveness and their culture towards that.
One of the coworkers was mentioning the diversity level of MyTech, and whether it's diversity of experiences, diversity in race or gender. Like, we might have been fortunate to not have faced certain discriminations, but then there's things like you mentioned, like the pants. It's not MyTech's fault that those aren't available, but that's like an industry thing that is definitely could be improved. And I guess going off of that, I think my final question for you as we're wrapping up is, what's something that you wish you could change or that you would like to see different in the future of women in construction? I
think it's really, really important that we continue to encourage, young girls that it's okay to be, interested in science, and it's okay to be interested in hands-on work and things that are historically male-dominated. And I think it's really important that we continue to encourage that and keep them involved. And I think as a culture, we've come a long way, in the last, we're constantly improving, but we've come a long way in that regard. So I guess that would be my biggest hope, that we continue to improve on that.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this.
Sure, thank you very much.